When I was 12, my parents divorced. Both of them quickly remarried and started new families. I became an outsider to both families. When I went to my father's house, the new mother looked ugly. After dinner, go back to your mother's house early and don't get in the way. When I went to my mother's house, my stepfather sarcastically said, "Are you here again? Your dad is so rich, go find him." During the high school entrance examination year, I lived on campus and going home once a month was too much. Before the college entrance examination, no one cared about my application and no one sent me to the examination room. 10 years later, I became a doctor and had my own office in a tertiary hospital. Dad suddenly appeared. "Your brother wants to study medicine. You have to help him." My mother called. "Your stepfather is sick. You're a doctor. Please arrange a bed for him." I said calmly, "Register and line up. Treat everyone equally." 01. Zhou Qing had just completed an 8-hour neurosurgery. After walking out of the operating room, she took off her mask, revealing a slightly tired but calm face. The light from the corridor shines on her white doctor's robe, which is cold and holy. Back in her doctor's office, she unscrewed the thermos and took a sip of warm water. The cell phone lay quietly on the table. Not a single missed call. There is not a single unread message. This is good. Zhou Qing likes this absolute silence. It took her 10 years to earn this peace for herself. There was a knock on the office door. The voice was very soft, but it contained an undeniable stubbornness. Zhou Qing said, "Please come in." The door was pushed open. A middle-aged man in a suit and tie walked in. His hair was meticulously combed, and he wore a valuable watch on his wrist. The years have left traces on his face, but the familiar and aloof aura has not changed at all. It's Zhou Zhenhong, her father. The father I haven't seen in 10 years. There was no wave in Zhou Qing's eyes. She didn't even stand up. Just look at him quietly, like looking at a stranger. Zhou Zhenhong was obviously dissatisfied with her coldness. He frowned, pulled out his chair, and sat across from her. "I've been looking for you for a long time." There was a hint of charitable familiarity in his tone. Zhou Qing did not answer the call. She picked up the teacup and blew the hot air gently. Zhou Zhenhong's eyes swept across the office. Spacious and bright, outside the window is the city's most prosperous CBD. Various medical certificates and medals she received hang on the walls. A trace of complex emotions flashed across his eyes, including surprise and scrutiny, but most of them were taken for granted. It was as if her success was also his glory. "It's been a good time," he commented. Zhou Qing put down her teacup and spoke in a very light voice. "What's up?" Zhou Zhenhong cleared his throat and finally revealed his purpose. "It's your brother's business." Zhou Qing didn't even raise her eyelids. "I don't have a brother." Zhou Zhenhong's face darkened. "Zhou Qing, that's your biological brother, Zhou Ziyan. You have the same blood flowing on your body." Zhou Qing smiled. "Very light and very cold. My mother only gave birth to me." "Zhou Zhenhong, your son was born to you and your current wife. What does it have to do with me?" Zhou Zhenhong was choked and speechless. He didn't expect that his taciturn and submissive daughter would become so sharp-tongued after not seeing her for 10 years. He took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. Xiang took the college entrance examination this year, and his results were not ideal. He wants to study medicine. You know how high the score is for studying medicine. Zhou Qing looked at him as if he was watching a poor performance. "So what?" Zhou Zhenhong leaned forward, and his tone became non-negotiable. "You are the youngest chief physician in this hospital and a well-known expert in the industry. You must have connections and connections. Go and say hello to the admissions office of your school and get Xiang in." He said it so easily, as if it was something as simple as eating and drinking. Zhou Qing finally looked at him. That look was as cold as a scalpel. "Mr. Zhou, do you have any misunderstandings about the profession of doctor?" "Still have some misunderstanding about the law." Zhou Zhenhong's face turned red. "What's wrong with the law? This is a family. A family should help each other. You are a sister. Isn't it only natural to help him?" "It's only natural?" Zhou Qing repeated these 4 words, feeling extremely ironic. "I had a high fever on the day of the high school entrance examination. I went to the examination room alone. Where were you?" "I was filling in my application for the college entrance examination. I didn't know who to ask, so I called you. You said you were at the amusement park with Xiang and were unavailable. At that time, why didn't you say it's only natural and right?" Zhou Zhenhong's face was a little worried when old stories were revealed. He defended in a rough voice. "Isn't that busy? You are such a big man. Why can't you handle such a small matter by yourself?" "Yes." Zhou Qing nodded. "I can handle it. So I went to medical school alone, studied for 8 years, and worked hard in the hospital for 5 more years. I handled these all by myself." She looked at Zhou Zhenhong. Every word was clear. "Now, if your son wants to study medicine, please handle it on his own. The college entrance examination is one of the fairest examinations in the country. If he has the ability, he can take the test himself. If you don't have the skills, just do whatever you have to do." Zhou Zhenhong slammed the table and stood up. "I turned against you, Zhou Qing. I gave birth to you and raised you, and this is how you talk to me?" Zhou Qing also stood up. She was about the same height as Zhou Zhenhong, but her aura completely overwhelmed him. "You contributed 1 sperm to give birth to me. Raise me? Have you ever given me a penny in child support? When I was 12 years old, when you married Lu Yun, you had already thrown me away as a burden. Now that this burden has value, you remember it? Zhou Zhenhong, nothing is so cheap in the world." Zhou Zhenhong was so angry that he was shaking all over and pointed at her nose. You unfilial daughter." Zhou Qing picked up the intercom phone on the table. "My working hours are over. If you don't leave, I'll call security." "You." Zhou Zhenhong looked into her cold eyes and knew she was not joking. He waved his hands bitterly, turned around, and walked towards the door. When he reached the door, he turned back reluctantly. You will regret it. Zhou Qing, I am your father. You can't get rid of me. The door was slammed shut. In the office, silence returned. Zhou Qing sat back on the chair, picked up the glass of cold water, and took a slow sip. Regret? What she regrets most in her life is that she once had any undue expectations for these people. 02. The day after his father Zhou Jinhong left, Zhou Qing received a call from his mother Li Mei. The moment the call was connected, Zhou Qing could even imagine Li Mei's face full of flattering smiles. Qing, are you busy? Zhou Qing said lightly, yeah. Li Mei's voice became more and more affectionate. Oh, my daughter is very capable. She is a great doctor at such a young age. Mom is so proud of you. Zhou Qing said nothing. She didn't even bother to respond to this kind of useless compliment. Li Mei chatted to herself for a few words and finally got to the point. Qing, I have something I want to ask you for a favor. Coming. Zhou Qing thought. Help again. These people will only think of her daughter when they need help. Your Uncle Wang, you haven't been feeling well lately. Uncle Wang refers to Li Mei's remarried husband, Wang Jiqiang. I keep coughing and my chest feels tight. I went to a small hospital and couldn't figure out the reason. Aren't you in a big hospital? Look, can you make arrangements to stay at a hospital and have a thorough checkup? Li Mei's tone was full of expectation. It seemed that as long as Zhou Qing nodded, an empty hospital bed would immediately appear in front of Wang Jiqiang. There was no emotion in Zhou Qing's voice. What are the symptoms? Are there any previous examination reports? For example, x-rays or CT? She used the tone of a doctor. Professional, calm, and impersonal. Li Mei was stunned for a moment, obviously not expecting that she would ask such detailed questions. Oh, how can I understand those things? Aren't we just asking you to arrange a bed? Once you move in, won't all the doctors in your hospital check it out? Zhou Qing leaned on the back of the chair. Hospital beds are very tight, especially in our department. All patients must follow the prescribed procedures. If your condition is urgent, you can go to the emergency room. If it is a non-emergency situation, go to the outpatient clinic to register. The doctor will determine whether hospitalization is needed based on the condition and then queue up to wait for a bed. Li Mei's voice suddenly changed. Queue? When do you want to wait in line? You are a doctor. Can't you just tell the people in your department? Others are lining up, but we are our own. How can we be the same? One of our own. Zhou Qing repeated it softly. Ms. Li, when did you and I become Mars? Li Mei on the other end of the phone was choked by these words. You. How do you talk, kid? I'm your mother. Oh. Zhou Qing's answer was only one word. When I was in college, my monthly living expenses were 600 yuan, and you gave me 200 yuan a month. I called you and said there wasn't enough money. What did you say then? You said, the family has a lot of expenses, and your brother also has to spend money. You are so old. Can't you save some money? You said, your dad is rich. If you go to him, don't bother me all the time. At that time, why didn't you say that we were our own people? Li Mei's breathing became rapid. Why are you bringing up those old accounts? Isn't it easy for me too? Your Uncle Wang doesn't make much money, and I have to take care of your brother. Besides, I raised you so big and provided you with food and clothing. Isn't it enough? Zhou Qing found it funny. It is the legal obligation of you and Zhou Jinhong to raise me until I am 12 years old. After I turn 12, you give me 200 yuan a month until I turn 18. A total of 672 months, a total of 14,400 yuan. I will double this money and return it to you when you are old. As for hospitalization, Zhou Qing paused, her voice as cold as ice. Treat everyone equally. Register and line up. That's the rule. Li Mei screamed on the other end of the phone. Zhou Qing, do you still have a conscience? If there is anything wrong with your Uncle Wang, I will never end it with you. Have you forgotten what he did to you when you were a child? He even bought you a new school bag. A school bag, 50 yuan. Zhou Qing remembers it very clearly. Because of that school bag, Wang Jiqiang had been talking about it in front of her for 3 whole years. Every time she came back with living expenses from Zhou Jinhong, Wang Jiqiang would say in a weird way, hey, you got the money back? Don't forget that your Uncle Wang also bought you a school bag. Zhou Qing said calmly, I will give you the money for that school bag together with 14,400 yuan next time. You. Li Mei was so angry that she couldn't speak. Zhou Qing didn't want to waste time with her anymore. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. I'm very busy. After saying that, she cut off the call directly. The world is clean again. Zhou Qing rubbed her eyebrows. She knew things wouldn't end so easily. Zhou Jinhong and Li Mei are the same type of people. Selfish, greedy, and never knowing how to reflect on himself. After being rejected, their only reaction is to get angry and then use more extreme methods to achieve their goals. Sure enough, not long after, Zhou Qing's cell phone rang again. It's an unknown number. Zhou Qing opened the door to answer. On the other end of the phone came the arrogant voice of a young man. Is it Zhou Qing? Zhou Qing did not answer. I'm Wang Shua. Do you still remember me? Wang Shua, the son of Li Mei and Wang Jiqiang, and the nominal second brother of Zhou Qing. I'm warning you, if something happens to my dad, I will be the first to settle the score with you. Don't think that being a bad doctor is great. My mother said, you are just a white-eyed wolf, a cold-blooded animal. Zhou Qing listened quietly. After he finished speaking, she spoke slowly. Finished. Wang Shua was stunned for a moment. Just hang up when you're done. My phone recording here is charged based on the length of time. If you curse, it's 500 a minute. You just cursed for 32 seconds, so you get 205. Remember to transfer the money to me. After saying that, without waiting for the other party's reaction, Zhou Qing hung up the phone and blocked the number. She looked out the window. The sky was getting dark. The storm is coming. 03. The storm Zhou Qing expected came faster and more violently than she imagined. On the morning of the third day, she was making rounds. As soon as I walked out of the ward, I saw a group of people gathered in the corridor of the department. The noises, quarrels, and crying were all mixed together, causing pain to the eardrums. Zhou Qing frowned and walked over. In the center of the crowd were two groups of people. The first group is her father Zhou Zhenhong, stepmother Lu Yun, and the so-called younger brother Zhou Ziang. The other group was her mother Li Mei, her stepfather Wang Jiqiang, and Wang Shua, who called her to scold her. At this moment, these two families who usually have no contact with each other have actually formed a united front. Their common enemy is Zhou Qing. Lu Yun was sitting on the ground, slapping her thighs, crying with runny nose and tears. What kind of justice is there? My daughter no longer recognizes her parents when she becomes a great doctor. She lives in a big house and drives a nice car. Her father wants her to do something for her brother, but she turns against him and refuses to acknowledge him. Not to be outdone, Li Mei pointed at the patients and family members around her and complained. Everyone, come and take a look and comment. This is the famous Dr. Zhou Qing. My mother's husband was seriously ill and wanted her to arrange a bed, so she asked us to queue up. She said she is not a family member to us. She doesn't even recognize her own mother. Wang Jiqiang leaned against the wall, looking sick and coughing violently from time to time, as if he was about to die at any time. Wang Shua, like a fighting cock, pointed at the head nurse who came over after hearing the news and cursed. What are you looking at? Call your director, Zhou Qing, out. Let her give us an explanation. Otherwise, we will stay here today and never leave. Zhou Zhenhong stood aside with a sullen face and said nothing. He acquiesced in the farce. In fact, he was one of the planners of this farce. They wanted to use public opinion and morality to kidnap her and force her to submit. The surrounding patients' family members were talking and pointing. Some people had disdainful looks on their faces, obviously believing what they said. The head nurse was so anxious that she was sweating profusely, but there was nothing she could do about these people. Zhou Qing walked through the crowd and walked up to them. She was still wearing a white coat with a calm expression and no warmth in her eyes. This is a hospital. Please stay quiet. Her voice was not loud, but like an ice pick, it instantly silenced the noisy scene. Li Mei saw her and immediately rushed forward, trying to grab her arm. You heartless thing. You are finally willing to come out. Zhou Qing took a step back and avoided her hand. Lu Yun also got up from the ground, pointed at her nose and cursed. You little bitch. How dare you hide? You must give us an explanation today. Zhou Qing's eyes swept across each of their faces. Zhou Zhenhong's hypocrisy, Lu Yun's meanness, Li Mei's arrogance, Wang Jiqiang's malingering, and the gloating in the eyes of Zhou Ziang and Wang Shua. What a wonderful family ethics drama. Unfortunately, she is not the audience, but the protagonist they want to sacrifice. Explain? Zhou Qing spoke, her voice clear and cold. What do you want to explain? Zhou Zhenhong finally spoke. He put on the air of a distraught father. Zhou Qing, we don't want to make things worse. As long as you nod, help Ziyang solve the schooling problem, and arrange a single ward for your Uncle Wang, we will leave immediately. We are still a family. Family? Zhou Qing smiled. Mr. Zhou, you may have forgotten that our family broke up 10 years ago. As for your requests. Her eyes turned to Lu Yun and Zhou Ziyang. If you want to go to a good university, just take the exam based on your own ability. If you want to go through the back door, I'm sorry, this is not the back door. Then, her eyes turned to Li Mei and Wang Jiqiang. If you want to see a doctor, go register and queue up. If you want to jump in line, I'm sorry, I don't have the privilege here. The hospital's medical resources are reserved for all patients who need them, not for scoundrels like you. Her words were like a loud slap in the face, hitting everyone hard. Wang Shua was enraged and jumped up to rush towards Zhou Qing. Who the hell are you calling a scoundrel? Zhou Qing didn't move. She just looked at him coldly. Then she took her phone out of her pocket. Everyone thought she was going to call to beg for mercy or find someone to mediate. Zhou Qing pressed 3 numbers in front of them. 110. No. She didn't call 110. She dialed the internal phone number of the hospital security department. Her voice was calm and without any ripples. Security department? I'm Zhou Qing from the Department of Neurosurgery. Now on the 7th floor of Building A in the inpatient department, a group of people gathered to cause trouble, seriously disrupting the normal medical order. One of the male family members has a tendency to be violent and hurt others. Please send someone over immediately to deal with it. Hang up. The whole place was dead silent. Zhou Zhenhong and Li Mei were all stunned. They thought about 10,000 possibilities. I thought Zhou Qing would argue with them, cry and give in. But she never thought that she would call the security guard directly. No, it's worse than calling security. She treated them as medical trouble. Zhou Zhenhong's face instantly turned the color of pig liver. Zhou Qing, you dare. Zhou Qing looked at him and said lightly, why don't I dare? In my eyes, there is no difference between you and those patients who make trouble in the hospital because they cannot be registered. They are all breaking the rules and affecting others. It is my duty to deal with such people in accordance with the regulations. In less than 2 minutes, several tall security guards rushed up. They held riot shields and batons in their hands and looked serious. Who is causing trouble here? The head nurse immediately pointed at Zhou Zhenhong's group of people. It's them. Without saying a word, the security guards immediately stepped forward and surrounded them. Please leave immediately, otherwise we will take coercive measures. Wang Shua still wanted to resist, but a security guard cut his hands behind his back and pinned him to the ground. Lu Yun and Li Mei screamed in fright. Wang Jiqiang no longer pretended to be sick. His face was pale, and he hid behind and did not dare to make a sound. A vigorous family trial turned into a complete farce. Zhou Zhenhong was invited by 2 security guards to go out. He turned around and stared at Zhou Qing, his eyes full of resentment and unwillingness. Zhou Qing, just wait. I will go to the dean to sue you. I will ruin your reputation. Zhou Qing watched him being dragged away expressionlessly. In the corridor, silence finally returned. The surrounding patients' family members looked at Zhou Qing with eyes that changed from contempt to awe and sympathy. The head nurse came over and whispered, "Director Zhou, are you okay?" Zhou Qing shook her head. "I'm fine." She turned around and prepared to continue her ward rounds. After taking 2 steps, she stopped and said to the head nurse, "I'll inform you that these people will not be allowed to enter my department in the future. If they come again, call the police directly." The head nurse nodded vigorously. "Okay, Director Zhou." Zhou Qing's back looks particularly tall and lonely in the long corridor. 04. The farce in the hospital ended in embarrassment for Zhou Jinhong and his gang. But Zhou Qing knew that this was just the beginning. For those who are accustomed to demands and moral kidnapping, hitting a wall will only make them crazier. The next day, a post quietly appeared on the internet. The title is extremely provocative. How did the angel in white treat the parents who gave birth to and raised her in the tertiary hospital in the first-tier city on August 18th? The post uses the tone of an insider and tells the story of a farmer and a snake with pictures and text. In the story, there is a pair of hardworking parents who saved their money and sent their daughter to medical school. My daughter is very talented and became an excellent surgeon after graduation, earning an annual income of $1 million. However, the daughter, who is successful and famous, turned against others. Her father wanted her to help and support his incompetent brother, but she flatly refused. Her mother's husband was seriously ill and wanted her to arrange a bed, but she indifferently asked people to line up. When her parents went to the hospital to argue with her, she actually called the security guards and kicked her elderly parents out like enemies. In the post, Zhou Qing's name was omitted and replaced only by Dr. Z. But her hospital, her department, and even her position were all clearly written. The accompanying pictures are several blurry photos secretly taken in the hospital corridor. One is Zhou Qing's indifferent side face. In other pictures, Lu Yan is sitting on the ground crying, and Wang Jiqiang is weakly leaning against the wall. After careful angle selection and text rendering, Zhou Qing became an out-and-out, cold-blooded, white-eyed wolf. This post accurately hit all the emotional points of the public. Unfilial piety, elite indifference, unkindness for the sake of wealth. Every label is enough to ignite public opinion. Sure enough, the post became a hot search within just a few hours. The comment area below has already fallen. Are all doctors today so awesome? They don't even recognize their parents. It's so chilling. How can someone with this kind of personality become a doctor? Are you not afraid that she will prescribe the wrong medicine to the patient? I suggest you use human flesh. Let her be ruined. The hospital must give an explanation. People with no medical ethics can't be allowed to remain in the doctor team. The abuse and curses were overwhelming. The official phone number of the hospital was almost full of calls. Countless, righteous, netizens demanded that the hospital fire Zhou Qing. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhou Qing received a call from the dean's office. The dean's surname is Chun, and he is an elegant middle-aged man. He invited Zhou Qing to his office and poured her a cup of tea himself. Director Zhou, have you read what happened on the internet? Dean Chen's tone was very gentle. Zhou Qing nodded. Looked at it. Any ideas? Zhou Qing looked at him calmly. Dean Chen, you have watched me step by step from an intern doctor to where I am today. What kind of person do you think I am? Dean Chen sighed. You are the most talented and hardest working doctor I have ever seen. I can trust your skills and your professional ethics. However, the pressure of public opinion is too great. The reputation of the hospital cannot be affected. Zhou Qing understood. This was asking her to find a way to calm the situation, even if it requires her to make some compromises. Zhou Qing took out a small USB flash drive from her pocket and placed it gently on the table. Dean, there are 2 things here. First, all the surveillance videos in the corridor of my department yesterday morning were not edited in any way. The second is a scanned copy of the bank statement. When I was in college, my mother, Ms. Li Mei, gave me 200 yuan a month for living expenses. There is also a copy of the court's divorce decree. It is clearly written on it that my custody rights belong to my mother and my father, Mr. Zhou Jinhong, should pay 300 yuan in monthly support. But he never gave me a penny. Zhou Qing stood up and bowed slightly. Dean, I know this matter has caused trouble for the hospital. I only asked the hospital to give me a chance to deal with it fairly. As for the public opinion online, I don't need clarification or sympathy. I just want the facts. After saying that, she turned and left the office. She didn't look at Dean Chen's expression. She has done everything she can do. The rest depends on the choice of hospital. It was the choice to sacrifice a capable doctor in order to settle the matter, or choose to uphold the facts and maintain the dignity of your employees. Zhou Qing walked on the boulevard of the hospital. The phone was still vibrating with incoming calls and harassing text messages from various unknown numbers. She turned on airplane mode without even looking. Even if the sky falls, she must have a good sleep first. This is the most important survival skill that took her 10 years to learn. 05. The speed of public opinion fermentation exceeded everyone's imagination. Zhou Qing's hospital, as the top medical institution in the city and even the country, was thrust into the spotlight for the first time. On the internet, the discussion about Dr. Z has risen from a moral level to an attack on the entire medical community. In order to gain traffic, some self-media began to add fuel to the fire and fabricate all kinds of sensational rumors. Some people say that Zhou Qing's paper was plagiarized. Some say she accepts red envelopes from patients. Some people even said that she had a medical accident and was forcibly suppressed by the hospital. The rumors became more and more outrageous, as if they were going to nail Zhou Qing to the pillar of shame. The 2 families, Zhou Jinhong and Li Mei, were extremely proud as they watched the carnival on the internet. They hide behind the scenes and enjoy the pleasure of strategizing. They felt that Zhou Qing was dead this time. Under such huge pressure from public opinion, the hospital will definitely make her succumb. At that time, instead of what they said, she would have to do something. However, they waited a day. What was waiting was not Zhou Qing's call to beg for mercy. Rather, it was an official statement from the hospital. The statement was simultaneously released on the hospital's official website, official Weibo, and public accounts. The title is Concise and Concise, clarifying statement on recent untrue speeches on the internet. The main text of the statement is clear in logic and rigorous in wording. First, the statement pointed out that Dr. Z reported online is indeed Dr. Zhou Qing, director of the neurosurgery department of our hospital. Second, the statement emphasized that Dr. Zhou Qing has superb medical skills and noble medical ethics. He has 0 complaints and 0 accidents since his practice and is deeply trusted by patients. The so-called academic misconduct and accepting red envelopes spread online are malicious slander, and the hospital will reserve the right to pursue legal liability. The third and most critical point is, regarding the family dispute incident that is hotly discussed on the internet, the statement stated that in order to clarify the facts and prevent the public from being misled, the surveillance video of the relevant public area on the day of the incident was released. Below the statement, a link to the video is attached. The video has no soundtrack, no editing, and not even mosaics. It is the most original surveillance video that lasts for more than 10 minutes. In the video, you can see it clearly. How Lu Yan sat on the ground, rolled around, and uttered obscene words. How Li Mei pointed at the nurse's nose and screamed. How Wang Shua was like a gangster, trying to rush into the medical staff. How Zhou Jinhong stood aside, watching with cold eyes, acquiescing to all this happening. Zhou Qing, on the other hand, maintained restraint and calmness from beginning to end. She didn't say a bad word. She was just maintaining normal order in the hospital. Finally, security appeared and invited the troublemakers to leave the scene. The whole process is clear at a glance. Facts speak louder than words. This statement, like a bombshell, instantly detonated the entire network. Public opinion took a shocking turn in an instant. Those netizens who were still filled with indignation and scolding Zhou Qing before were all dumbfounded. Damn it, it's reversed. It turns out that the villain complained first. Where are the parents here? These are obviously a group of vampires, right? I feel sorry for Dr. Zhou. It's really bad luck for 8 lifetimes to have such a family member. Isn't this a typical medical drama? Support the hospital. Support Dr. Zhou calling the police. The trend in the comment area changed from one-sided abuse to one-sided sympathy and support. The previous post that discredited Zhou Qing was dug out by netizens, and the original author was scolded and had his account cancelled. Zhou Jinhong and Li Mei's mobile phone numbers, home addresses, and even workplaces were all leaked by angry netizens. Their social accounts were flooded with questions and ridicules. Zhou Xiang and Wang Shua's classmates also pointed at them behind their backs. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. That's all we know. They tried to delete the post, tried to defend themselves, but to no avail. In the face of ironclad video evidence, any pale words seem ridiculous. The public opinion trial they planned ultimately burned themselves out. 06. The backlash on the internet plunged the 2 families into unprecedented chaos. Zhou Jinhong's company was affected, and several important customers canceled cooperation. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. That's all we know. Zhou Xiang couldn't hold his head up in school, and even felt tired of studying. Li Mei and Wang Jiqiang were even worse. Wang Jiqiang's pretending to be ill was exposed, and he became a laughingstock in the workplace. Wang Shua was fired from his job because he quarreled with people online. Instead of getting any benefits from Zhou Qing, they made themselves miserable. Anger and unwillingness burned more and more in their hearts. They attributed all their faults to Zhou Qing's ruthlessness. Since being soft won't work and public opinion won't work, they decided to take more extreme measures. They wanted to stop Zhou Qing in person and force her to give an explanation. That evening, Zhou Qing finished her day's work and drove out of the hospital's underground garage. As soon as she drove onto the main road, a black shadow suddenly rushed out of the green belt on the roadside and stood straight in front of her car. Zhou Qing's pupils shrank, and she suddenly stepped on the brakes. The tires made a screeching sound on the ground. The car stopped less than half a meter away from the man. It's Li Mei. She opened her arms like a desperate cross, blocking the road. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. That's all we know. Lu Yan's face, twisted with anger, was pressed against the car window. Zhou Qing, you little bitch, get out of the car. They actually joined forces. One is responsible for touching porcelain, and the other is responsible for containment. Zhou Qing looked at them expressionlessly. She didn't get out of the car or argue with them. She just pressed the central locking to ensure that the door could not be opened from the outside. Then she picked up her phone. Li Mei and Lu Yan outside the car thought she was going to call to beg for mercy. A proud sneer appeared on their faces. Are you afraid now? It's too late. If you don't explain things clearly today, you can't leave. Zhou Qing ignored their clamor. She dialed a number. After the call was connected, she said in an extremely clear and calm tone, Hey, 110? I'm going to call the police. At the intersection of Zhongshan Road and Jiefang Road, near the north gate of the central hospital, 2 middle-aged women, suspected of having sex with each other, maliciously stopped a motor vehicle and physically attacked and threatened me. My driving recorder has recorded the whole process. Yes, my personal safety is fine for the time being. It's just in the car. Okay, I'll wait for you to come over. Her voice was not loud, but it was enough for the 2 people outside to hear clearly through the car window. Li Mei and Lu Yan froze instantly. The pride on their faces turned into shock and panic. Call the police? She actually called the police directly? How dare she? Li Mei rushed to the driver's seat window and slapped the glass frantically. Zhou Qing, you're crazy. I'm your mother. You actually called the police over this. Lu Yan was also screaming on the other side. Family scandals must not be made public. Did you call the police here to embarrass all of us? Zhou Qing looked at them coldly. It's like watching 2 clowns who have nothing to do with themselves. Family scandal? When they behaved in the hospital and slandered her online, why didn't they mention the family scandal? Now, when their behavior may have violated the law, they thought of using blood ties to kidnap her. Unfortunately, it's too late. Zhou Qing put down her phone, even took out a bottle of mineral water from the storage compartment, unscrewed it, and took a slow sip. She completely ignored the two furious faces outside the window. She chose to use the most civilized and effective way to resolve this farce. That is, let professional people handle unprofessional matters. In less than 10 minutes, the sound of police sirens came from far away. Li Mei and Lu Yun's faces instantly turned pale. 07. The sound of the police car sounded from far to near, as if it was the prelude to the final chapter of this absurd farce. The blood on Li Mei and Lu Yun's faces faded at a speed visible to the naked eye. They couldn't figure it out. How dare Zhou Qing? How dare she actually call the police? In their deep-rooted concepts, blood is the biggest shackles. A family scandal is a fig leaf that should never be made public. When the police come, what problem can be solved? It will only make everyone lose face. However, Zhou Qing obviously didn't think so. For her, face is earned by oneself, not given by others. As for the shackles, she smashed them with her own hands 10 years ago. Two police officers got out of the car with serious expressions. Who called the police? What happened? Zhou Qing lowered the window, and her voice was calm. It's me. These two ladies maliciously stopped my vehicle on the main road and threatened me verbally. My driving recorder has the entire journey. When Li Mei saw the police, she immediately put on another face. She rushed to the police, tears coming at the drop of a hat. Comrade police, misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. This is my daughter. I am her mother. We just wanted to say a few words to her, but she didn't stop, so we stood in front of the car. Lu Yun also quickly agreed. Yes, how dare we threaten her? She is a great doctor. We just wanted to talk to her about family matters. The policeman glanced between them and Zhou Qing and frowned. What's going on at home? Can you stop a car in the middle of the road because of family matters? Do you know how dangerous this is? It not only threatens your own safety, but also seriously affects public transportation order. One policeman's tone became stern. Another policeman walked to Zhou Qing's car. Ma'am, can you provide us with a video from the dash cam? Zhou Qing nodded, pulled out the memory card, and handed it over. Ken. The policeman returned to the police car with the memory card and looked at it. Within a few minutes, his expression darkened. In the video, the actions of Li Mei and Lu Yun clearly constituted provoking trouble. The evidence is conclusive and irrefutable. The police officer's expression became non-negotiable. Okay, don't talk about it here. Come back to the institute with us and make a note. When Li Mei heard that she was going to the police station, she immediately panicked. Comrade police, can you not go? We know we were wrong, and we will never dare again. If word of this spreads, how will we behave as human beings? Lu Yun was also so scared that her legs went weak. In her life, she had rarely even been embarrassed by anyone, let alone entered the police station. The police ignored their pleas. Now you know it's embarrassing? What did you do early? Get in the car. Li Mei and Lu Yun were taken into the police car. Zhou Qing drove her car and followed behind. She was going to provide evidence and complete the transcript. In the police station, the lights were brightly lit. Li Mei and Lu Yun were questioned separately. They repeated incoherently, "We are her mother, and we just want to talk to her," trying to use family affection to confuse the public. Zhou Qing wrote the notes very quickly. Her logic was clear and concise, and she informed the police of the ins and outs of the matter, including the previous trouble in the hospital and the slander on the internet, as background information. She didn't add any flair, she just stated the facts. But the combination of these facts is enough to paint an image of a victim who has been harassed and violated for a long time. After finishing the transcript, Zhou Qing sat on the waiting chair outside. Zhou Zhenhong and Wang Jiqiang arrived in a hurry. They were notified by the police to pick them up. Seeing Zhou Qing, Zhou Zhenhong's anger suddenly emerged. He rushed to Zhou Qing and roared in a low voice. "Zhou Qing, are you crazy? You sent your mother and your Aunt Lu to the police station. What are you worried about?" Wang Jiqiang also helped. "Qing, I know you're angry. But after all, we are still a family, so why bother going to the police station? It won't be good for anyone's reputation if word spreads about it." Zhou Qing raised her eyelids and looked at them. That look was like looking at two noisy flies. She suddenly smiled, her voice not loud but full of sarcasm. "Reputation? When you posted posts online to slander me, why didn't you consider my reputation? Why didn't you consider the reputation of the hospital when you were rolling around in the corridors of the hospital?" She stood up, walked to Zhou Zhenhong, and looked directly into his eyes. "Mr. Zhou, you seem to have made a mistake. You and I are no longer a family. Your behavior has caused harassment to me, so I will call the police. This is a legal right that every citizen has. Whether I am your daughter or not has nothing to do with me." Zhou Zhenhong's lips trembled with anger. You? A police officer walked over and interrupted their confrontation. "Zhou Zhenhong, Wang Jiqiang, right? Your family members, Li Mei and Lu Yun, were sentenced to 5 days of administrative detention in accordance with the law for causing quarrels and disturbing public order. The notice is here. Please sign it. Administrative detention. 5 days." Zhou Zhenhong and Wang Jiqiang were stunned on the spot, as if they were struck by a bolt from the blue. They think that the most they can do is criticize and educate and impose fines. I never expected that I would be detained. Li Mei and Lu Yun were brought out. After hearing this result, they were completely shattered. Lu Yun cried on the spot. "I don't want to be detained. I didn't break the law." Li Mei stared at Zhou Qing with hatred in her eyes. "Zhou Qing, you harmed me, you thunderous beast." Zhou Qing turned a deaf ear to her curses. She just nodded politely to the policeman. "Comrade police, thank you for your fair handling. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. The policeman nodded. Okay, Ms. Zhou. If they still harass you after they come out, you can apply for a personal safety protection order at any time. I know, thank you. Zhou Qing turned around and walked out of the police station without looking back. The night outside was as cold as water. She took a deep breath and felt extremely comfortable. Throw the rubbish into the trash can. Isolate the virus. This is the most scientific and efficient method. To deal with viruses, we never rely on reasoning, but on disinfection and isolation. Today, she just did a thorough disinfection. 08. The news that Li Mei and Lu Yun were detained for 5 days was like a bomb that exploded in the two families. This is a great shame and humiliation for them. When they came out of the detention center, their energy seemed to have been drained from their entire bodies. Especially Lu Yun. She has always prided herself on being decent, but now she has a criminal record. She directed all her grievances on Zhou Jinhong. It's all you. If you hadn't insisted on provoking that little bitch, how could I have suffered like this? Zhou Jinhong, let me tell you, this matter is not over yet. Zhou Jinhong was so scolded that his hatred for Zhou Qing reached its peak. He couldn't figure out how he could give birth to such an indifferent, cold-blooded daughter. On the other side, Wang Jichang's family was also in a state of chaos. After Li Mei came out, she cried at home every day and cursed Zhou Qing for dying. Wang Shua was furious. Dad, Mom, let's just forget it. She sent you in, Mom. I can't swallow this breath. After several confrontations during this period, they finally understood a fact. It's useless to talk about family ties with Zhou Qing. Use public opinion to suppress her, and she can fight back. If he plays rogue with her, she will call the police directly. This daughter, or this enemy, is beyond their ability to understand and control. They were thrown into a hopeless rage. After a few days of silence,